against Hillary Clinton. I am pleased to have him on this program. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Is the party united?
You know, I think the party is united. I mean, I think there's been a bunch of talk, obviously, last night in terms of Ted Cruz. But I think, look, Ted Cruz came out and supported a lot. And whether he supports Donald or he doesn't, I don't think is terribly relevant. I think you see, and this has been an incredibly exciting week, and you see...
He told those delegates to vote your conscience.
Well, I don't really think that's all that relevant. I think that, again, if you look at what's gone on this week, and it's been incredibly exciting. I've been here from Monday on, and the energy that's been at this convention is extraordinary. And if you look at what Donald Trump has done to the party and his contribution in bringing new people to the party, it's extraordinary. Last night, just as an example, we did close to $4 million in online donations last night. A Republican has never raised this type of money online, and signifies the extraordinary support. We have over 700,000 unique donors that we've had in the last few weeks, and we've just started this effort. So I think you really see this is a movement, and I think there's a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters and others that are supporting Donald.
Now, what's the evidence of that?
I think we have indirect evidence of the contributors.
Talk about fundraising, which is part of what you are responsible for as National Finance Chairman. It is said, and the evidence is, you're way behind Hillary Clinton.
I wouldn't say that at all.
That's the conventional wisdom, though. And she spent $49 million at least already. You haven't spent a dime in terms of television ads.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean we're way behind.
Okay.
That just means she's spending a lot. So
let's
look at the facts, okay? We started this effort 5 weeks ago. I mean, you have a unique situation that Donald funded the entire campaign up to getting the nomination. And
used free media.
And used a lot of free media, and also he has an extraordinary social following. He has over 20 million people that follow him through social media. And if you look at what we've raised $51 million in 5 weeks. That was through the month. You look at, he contributed about $60 million, okay, to the campaign so far. And if you look at Hillary, who, did raise more than the $51 million, raised about $70 million. She's been doing this for 10 years, and we've been doing this for 5 weeks.
So you are saying that we're not that far behind, and we can raise every bit as much money as she can?
We can raise as much money as we need, which is going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think she's going to need a lot more money because she has a staff that's over 900 people. We have a staff of 150 people, which also gives you a view as to how he's going to run the government and how she's going to run the government.
How are you doing with traditional financial sources in the Republican Party?
I think we've been doing well. I think we've been doing well. There have been people who are on the sidelines. I think Governor Pence coming on the ticket has helped us a lot. I think there's been a lot of people who are now excited to join, and he's going to be part of our fundraising effort. And there's a whole bunch of new donors that haven't donated to the party before. What
did Governor Pence bring that attracted him? Because evidently, and you can confirm this, the family liked him a lot, Governor Pence.
It did, but one of the things I would say, and Donald was consistent on this, he was looking for someone to run with him who had government experience. Donald understands that he has not been a politician, and he thought it was very important to have someone who could help him govern. And Pence brings a terrific history of both being a governor and being in Congress, and I think there's a lot of experience that he brings to the table.
When did you know he was going to run for president?
I actually knew over a year ago. He was actually, he came to Los Angeles, and we were having dinner, and he talked to me about him running for president.
And said, I'm going to do this.
He did.
And I need your help.
No, actually, he didn't say he needed my help at that time. He was actually just talking to me about it and asking me for my opinions. And I've been following along the way. He actually didn't ask me for help until only 3 months ago when he won New York. That's when he decided he really needed help in terms of fundraising. He called me up the next day and asked me if I'd come on and be the finance chairman.
There are people who say no one believed it was possible. When he first said this, did you believe it was possible?
I did, because I heard it last time when he was thinking of running. And he was very serious this time. I think very few people thought...
So what was different between the two times?
I think this time he thought it was the right time. I think he was very close last time to doing it, and for a bunch of different reasons he decided not to. And I think this time, he really wanted to do it, and he saw it as an opportunity to help the country.
This idea of where the country was and his decision to run, did that just happen to be a very, very productive convergence, or did he see the discontent in the country? and knew that he could address that, and if he could address that well, he could be successful.
I think he did see it, and I think more he felt like he had an obligation to address it. This is a hard thing to do running. I mean, I travel with him all the time, and trust me, this guy has more energy than anybody I know. And he's doing this because he really wants to help the American people.
Of all the criticism, what offends you the most? Hillary Clinton said on Monday he'd be the most dangerous man ever to run for president. Now, this is a political world, but I'm asking you what criticism offends you the most and you find most egregious and most untrue.
I mean, I'd say that's probably the single one that I find most untrue. I think this guy is very, very careful. I think that although he doesn't have military background, he is going to bring very serious advisors on board in terms of military, defense, and foreign policy. He's going to surround himself with an extraordinary cabinet, and he's very careful, he's very thoughtful, and I think he'll be a great president.
As you know, he attracted a lot of attention when he talked about NATO in an interview with the New York Times.
Yes.
My question also is, will he say to NAFTA, we no longer are going to be party to the NAFTA agreement? Will he say to those organizations that we are a party to, we are no longer going to be, we want to renegotiate everything?
Well, I think the first thing he's going to do, and again, we're looking at this now, and there's sound policies that are being built to be able to execute these things on day one. And I think the first issue is he's going to expect the counterparties, the other countries, first thing they have to do is honor these agreements. So if you look at China, China is not honoring many aspects of the WTO. If you look at NAFTA, there's specific areas of NAFTA that are not being honored. And in NAFTA, there was a component that it's supposed to be reviewed after a period of time. So I think it's going to be a combination of reviewing the existing agreements, making sure the countries are living up to what they said they do, and then looking at where there are changes that are important for American interests and American workers.
That at heart, he sees life in terms of winning and losing, number one. And he sees life in terms of, on the other hand, a negotiation. Is that a fair appraisal?
That is. And I think the first part of it, the winning and losing, is he has to win to become president. And he's very focused on doing that. But in terms of negotiation, this is a man who has negotiated very successful agreements through his life. And he knows that in dealing with other countries throughout the world, it is going to be a negotiation. But in terms of winning and losing,
a good negotiation, everybody knows, the worst thing you can do is for the other person to walk away feel like they've been, that they've been beaten to death. You want people to come out thinking they were a winner also, do you not?
Absolutely. And the Trump presidency wants agreements that are fair for both parties, for our country and for the other country, and for them not to be one-sided. But the most important part of this is they have to be fair to the American public and the American worker.
Has he changed since that time you had that conversation a year ago? Has the campaign, has the experience, has this enormous challenge of running for president changed him?
I think it has. I think he's much more thoughtful on many of these issues. I think he understands these issues better today. I think he's also heard from the American public over the last year and really understands, as you said, he is a messenger of what's going on today.
And running is also a learning experience.
It is indeed. And I think that the aspect of competing against the Republicans was very different than what he's doing today in going after Hillary Clinton.
What is it about him as a family man?
I think he's done an incredible job in instilling values and work ethic in his kids. And that's something very hard to do in a family business. But I'll also tell you a story I just heard. They had Christmas dinner every year, and there were two tables. One table was for the grown-ups, and one table was for the kids. And half the time, Donald would sit at the table with the kids because he really enjoyed it and he wanted to be with them.
Yeah. What do you worry about in this campaign? You worry about this is going to be such a campaign that's going to be so mean and so dirty that it'll spin out of control?
No, I'm not concerned about that at all. I mean, what I worry about is making sure that the American public understands what the Trump-Pence presidency is really all about.
So tell us now, what is it really all about?
I think it's about making America great again.
Right,
I think it's about But it really means, what does it mean, make America great again?
Right.
It means creating opportunities for the American worker, making sure that America is safe again. If you look at what's going on in the world today, there's very significant foreign policy issues, there's very significant security issues, there's very significant terrorist issues, and this is going to be a big part of this presidency.
Who is his most important economic advisor?
You know, there's a bunch of people. There's a big group of people, and actually, I think we're going to be putting out a press release this week listing the Economic Advisory Council. So there's a group of about 10 people that are a combination of business people and economists that have been advising the campaign. And Tom's on that list.
Tom,
you had here earlier, Tom Barrack.
Yeah, and you're on that list.
I'm on that list, and there's others who I don't want to yet announce.
You have a very good life in Los Angeles.
The weather is terrific there.
Can you imagine going to Washington as Secretary of the Treasury, say?
Well, let me just say, first of all, I'd be honored to serve this country and serve Donald Trump in any role that he wants me in. And it's a bit premature to worry about those roles. I can tell you that the transition office has not yet started.
Thank you, Steve. Great to see you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.